Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gridiron Recap. Kevin Walsh alongside Jersey Joe Archino and Ian Sachs, both reporting for ESPN Radio Albany on the Jets and the Giants. Both teams now sitting at 5-5, and I'm sure both fan bases pretty upset with those records. Both teams probably feeling like they deserve much better records, but it is what it is. We'll start with the Jets. They have now dropped 4 of their last 5, which is really a bad sign considering how hot they were to start the season. Over this 5-game stretch, what has gone wrong for this team?
Well, they've been decimated by injuries. So many players having struggles health-wise. But then you really look at that and the injuries affecting the offensive line. Nick Mangold in this game against Houston going down in the first quarter with a hand injury, and then the running game not getting off the ground at all. And really the Jets' running game for the first part of these 10 games, really solid. Chris Ivory looking like one of the best running backs in the NFL, in a large part because of the offensive line in front of him. The 5 games since then, the offensive line not healthy, Chris Ivory struggling, the Jets going 1-4.
And obviously, when any group has a struggling running game, you have to turn to the quarterback. But ironically enough, that's a position that is dealing with those injuries. Ryan Fitzpatrick, dealing with the thumb, just had surgery and is now going to likely start against the Dolphins. How much can you trust Ryan Fitzpatrick coming off this surgery?
Well, I feel pretty good about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Definitely the quarterback that I have the most confidence in on this Jets team. But you have to look at what he did against Houston and throwing those 2 interceptions late in the game, costly. The Jets lose by 7 points. Those 2 interceptions really could have helped to propel them maybe to a victory here. Then they're sitting 6-4, feeling a lot better about themselves. So you have to wonder a little bit about Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I think right now he is by far the best option for New York.
And Joe, I still find it interesting that when we speak about this Jets group, we're always kind of looking for the offense to win them games when it was supposed to be the defense that was going to lead them to the playoffs and maybe even more. Now, after this past weekend, the saying is that DeAndre Hopkins vacations on Revis Island. Revis now going out with an injury. How worried should fans be about the state of this Jets defense?
Look, I think you have to be very worried. This was kind of one of those guys where when you had him back, you were going to say, okay, we have one side of the football field solidified. We don't really have to worry that much about it. When you take a guy of his caliber out, and we did see what DeAndre Hopkins and some other receivers have done to him this year, I think that's a big blow, a big detriment. Now, I like Todd Bowles a lot. I think, again, one of the stories with both these New York teams is they have made adjustments pretty well. Todd Bowles is a very heavy defensive-minded guy. I think he's going to look at everything. He's going to figure out some adjustments somewhere. You can move some guys, maneuver some other people. So I wouldn't worry about it totally. But, again, whenever you lose a player of Revis' caliber, there's always got to be a little bit of doubt in the back of your mind.
Now, that's the first 5-5 team in New York. Now, we move over to the Giants, and this group is 5-5, but they easily could be 9-1, maybe 8-2 if you want to be fair. But they're 5-5, and they're only a game ahead of 2 teams in the division and then 2 games ahead of the last place team. How should this team feel about themselves right now?
Look, I mean, I'll go back to the old record. You are what your record says you are, and they are a 500 football team. I think the Giants have signs of being a complete football team, but they haven't had a complete performance as a football team. It's been stressed over and over again by Tom Coughlin. You know, they've struggled finishing games. It's either been one phase of the game hasn't gone their way, either the defensive side or the offensive side. So they've had so many good parts. Sometimes the offense has been clicking. Sometimes the defense hasn't. I think what you have to do if you're the Giants is you've had the bye week. You've got to come back and show, look, we have a complete special teams, we have a complete offense, and we have a complete defense. There have been signs of it. I think coming off the bye week, if they can show it, they can just show this is our division and we're just going to move forward from here.
Now, obviously the goal for every football team is to have complete performances, offense good, defense good, special teams good, but sometimes it just won't come through. The one good thing for this Giants team as a whole and the offense specifically is how well they actually score and put points up. They're 5th in points per game, and that's while having a pretty suspect run game, really giving praise to Eli Manning, Odell Beckham, Ruben Randle, and that core that has stepped up. This Giants passing game is one of the best in the league. Do you think, though, it is enough to get them to the playoffs?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think bringing in, which they just did, Hakeem Nicks is kind of one of the perfect moves for them. I think without Victor Cruz, who was going to be out for the season now, they really needed a big receiver who you could just send down the field and just let him go up there and catch the football. I don't think they had that, and now you bring in a guy like Hakeem Nicks, who had a very good history there with the Giants, was always focused, and again, he fit that role perfectly. Send him down the field, put the ball up in the air, let him make a play. I think Eli has been phenomenal this year. Aside from that one game in Philly where things just kind of petered off after the first couple of drives, he's been rock solid. I think bringing in another weapon like Hakeem Nicks is going to help him out even more. And I do think that now that you have a guy like Odell, you have Reuben Randall, and now Hakeem Nicks, they have enough in the wideout position to get to the playoffs.
And Ian, I'll close with you by asking, for this team, 5-5, only a game lead in the division, but still feeling like the superior team, what is going to be the X factor for this group to get to the playoffs and create separation from them from the rest of these NFC East teams?
I don't think they're going to create separation. I think that that's the beauty of the NFC East, that it's so well evenly matched. All four teams, we knew going into the season that it'd be a close division race, down to the wire, down to the last few weeks in December and even into January. But when you look at the division, everyone is 500 against division opponents, either 2-2 or 1-1. This division is going to go down to the wire. There's no doubt about it. I think the Giants have to, as Joe said, rely on their stars, especially on offense. But you know what? If they're looking to get separation, it's not going to happen. It's simply not. Tony Romo's back in Dallas. They're 3-0 with him. And, you can't count out Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. And then, of course, Washington. I'd say the surprise team in this division. I thought Washington would be far and away the worst team in this division. But looking at the NFC East, the Giants are not going to get separation.
Well, you've heard it from the boys first. Week 11 on the horizon. Both teams 5-5, both needing desperate victories. We'll see who gets them. Kevin Walsh, Jersey Joe Archino, Ian Sachs. This has been Gridiron Recap. We'll see you guys next time.